Today's video is going to be about product photography, and now I'm going to break it down into 3 parts: the physical product, behind the scenes in making the product, and then also some lifestyle and how to use the product kind of way, you know, more of a lifestyle thing. This video is not sponsored. If you follow my channel, you know that I like to do my part and try to support small business wherever I can. So I have a friend that's awesome artist, so I'm going to be showing his product, and that's what I'm going to be using as a prop for this video. Anyway, let's head over there. It's right around the corner here, and then I'll show you a little bit more about what's involved and why I think it's so important to do the behind the scenes, so you can connect with not only the artist but the product. But anyway, let's go, and I'll show you more when we get there. So yes, today we're going to learn how to make knives, and not only big ones like this, but also really cool ones like this. But it all starts here in Red Blanket Forge.
I'm Devin Boothby. I'm the CEO, Chief Cook and Bottle Washer, and Janitor at Red Blanket Forge.
Let's share the backstory. How did you get into making knives?
I had an interest in making knives to begin with, just kind of on my own, and so I started doing some research. One gentleman that I think I learned the most from was James Keaton of Keaton Knives in Texas. He has a YouTube channel, he does a bunch of things, and he's a very good teacher. I've followed several of the other, more famous people. There's Walter Sorrells, Jason Knight, over the years, just to learn little tips and tricks and everything else. I've been at it for about probably 3 years now.
So let's walk through the process and how to take a piece of metal, make this into a knife.
It's not that terribly complicated. You have to come up with a concept. I will draw out what I think I want to do. This is just a rough outline to give me sort of a guideline to know where to cut my steel and everything else, but I actually design the knife itself on the grinder. There are no 2 knives that I make at any point that are going to be exactly the same. The next step will be to put this in the oven. And all this does is, as the knife cools, they have a tendency to want to bend. And what this does is it prevents it from warping in any direction.
Once you cut out the knife, you have to treat it, then it goes in the oven for a couple hours, and then so it does take a long time, but I think the finished product looks awesome. How's that looking?
That's not bad. We're working 150 grit at this point. We'll work up slowly up to 400 grit by the time we're finished. And then if I'm still not happy with it, we'll go on up to 1,000 grit if we need to. My first knife was just a basic Skinner, and actually I still make that pattern.
I mean, interrupt you. Look at some of these knives out of railroad ties.
The temperature depends on the type of steel that you use. Right now, my thing is 80 CRV2, which is what this piece is, and you need to heat that up around 1575 degrees. Hold it for probably about 10 minutes, and then you will pull it out and quench it. And what that does is it actually hardens the steel. It aligns the molecules in the steel. There's a huge amount of metallurgy and everything involved. When you first start out, you think, oh yeah, I heat it and do whatever and then quench it and it's good. And that's not all there is to it, unfortunately. You don't need complicated tools to do this. You can do all of this with files That's how they did it back in the 1800s. What you do is when you start at a very steep angle like this is set right now, and that puts your initial edge in the knife, and then as you work, you screw this down, and you go for the next step, and the next step, and the next step, and the next step. And it is admittedly time consuming. I mean, this is not something you're gonna be able to actually make a knife in a day. So basically what we did with the grinder, where we work from the base to the point, you do the same thing.
But with
a file.
Sandpaper.
Mm-hmm. And you can also change your angles by moving your piece in, because that creates a steeper angle. So you have several different ways you can adjust that.
Okay, so we're in the shop, and now that you know a little bit more about the knife making process, I'm gonna get some pictures. Once we get the outline like this, it looks really cool, to the final product looks like that. So for this, I brought my cube, the 10th cube, the pop-up cube. I like using this one because I can use it with any light. We're artificial light here, and then we also have a little bit of sunlight coming through the window. And I also brought those other backgrounds that I've shown before. Fold, they can go in the cube, and you can just get completely different textures and backgrounds with the product. And then also from start to finish. Remember, when you're taking product photography, you're telling the story. In this case, we're telling his story, how he started, where he's at, where he wants to be, everything to go with the knives. All right, so the first thing I noticed when I'm doing this in the cube and on the fake backgrounds is that they need a little more. So I'm gonna find something here in the shop, a piece of wood or something else, something to just make it pop, because on these foldable fake background things, they look good, but I think it's missing something. So let me find something with character, with texture, something different. Who's this down here?
That would be Lulu.
Your biggest fan?
Yep, my only fan.
All right, so this is cool because we got all the parts that go with this knife. It's still in the building process, but you can see all the individual pieces that will come together to make a really pretty Damascus.
This actually isn't Damascus. Damascus is actually, it used to be made in Syria. It was a crucible steel.
Okay.
What they call this is Damas steel. And what it is basically this stack right here. You put 15 and 20 in between two pieces of 1080, which is probably all Greek to everybody, but you cut these up into small sections, you weld them together, and then you take a hydraulic press and heat them up to forging temperature, and you smash them together. Once you get a billet out of that, which will be approximately the same size, you cut that up, you stack it, and you weld it, and then you do the same thing again and again and again.
And that's how you get all these lines?
And that's how you get all the layers that are in the Damas steel.
And for those of you who follow my channel for stock photography, keep in mind that a lot of these images are perfect as stock photos, as they're showcasing a lifestyle or a product. How can people find you?
You can find me on my Facebook page, Devin Boothby on Facebook. Leave a message. I answer all of my messages, and I check all my messages on a daily basis, so it won't be long before you get a call.
And getting coffee on me. That was cool. That's a quick version of how these things come together. How do you make a knife? And I don't know, I like the process. It was pretty cool. I got some pictures at the shop, some product shots, and then the action shots too of making the knife. And to me, that's very important, is to include everything. That way he could promote his business. The style of pictures, you could do the same thing for any other business out there. is from start to finish. Any product, any service, you know, that's what really sells and connects with people, is the whole process. I will be putting a link down here in the description. Anybody interested, go ahead and check him out. He's in Southern Oregon. It's just fun to watch and learn more about the process. To me, like I said, it's just a way to connect with your audience, connect with the creator. Anyway, thank you very much. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. How do I can't see what I'm doing. There we go.